All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about Babylon, but probably not the Babylon you're picturing. We're going to peel back all those layers of legend and myth to get to a much, much cooler origin story.
Think about it for a second. When you hear the word Babylon, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Because for most people, it's usually some pretty big, epic stuff, right?
You know, you might picture these mighty kings, these larger-than-life figures ruling over these massive empires, completely shaping the ancient world.
Or, hey, maybe it's the city itself you're thinking of. You know those gigantic, towering walls you hear about? Or those incredible temples, the ziggurats, that were literally wonders of their world.
And of course, there's the whole idea of law and order. That famous image of Hammurabi's code carved right into stone, a symbol of this super advanced civilization.
And look, all of that stuff, it's totally true. But that's the end of the story. That's the highlight reel. To really get Babylon, we've got to rewind. We have to go way, way back, beyond the legend to where it all started.
And our journey starts at a very specific point in time. Get this number in your head, 1894 BC. Because this date, this is where everything kicks off. This is the moment
that Babylon was, well, it was basically just a small town with big dreams. It wasn't some huge empire. It wasn't the center of the universe. Honestly, it was just a small kingdom trying to make it in a pretty tough part of the world.
So let's really dig into that. Let's forget all the gold and glory for a minute and just try to imagine what the world actually looked like when Babylon first appeared on the scene.
Okay, so check this out. On one side, you have the old guard, right? These established powers like Ur and Uruk. I mean, these cities were already ancient. They were the heavyweights. And then, over on the other side, you've got Babylon, the new kid on the block, the underdog. Just a small, independent city trying not to get swallowed up by its much bigger, tougher neighbors.
So who were these guys? They were the Amorites, and they were part of this massive wave of change sweeping through Mesopotamia. A ruler named Sumu Abum, he's the one who decides this place, Babylon, this is going to be our capital. And that right there, that's the spark that lights the whole fire.
So the big question is, how does a little place like that even make it? How do you go from being a nobody to, well, to Babylon? It all comes down to the basics, the absolute essential building blocks of a kingdom back then. It's kind of like a four-step recipe for survival. Step 1, location, location, location. You got to have a strategic spot, and being on the river was a total game changer for Babylon. Step 2, get organized. You need systems to run the place. Step 3, food. You have to feed your people, which means controlling the farmland. And step 4, and this one is huge, defense. You've got to build walls and have an army, because everyone is a potential enemy. And you can really break it down into these three main pillars that held the whole thing together. You've got the palace, that's your political and military command center. Then you have the temple, and get this, it wasn't just about religion. The temple was a huge economic engine, and it kept society stable. And then, holding it all up from the bottom, the farmland. Simple as that. In this world, food wasn't just food. Food was power, period. So you see, it's not just one thing. It's this whole ecosystem working together. Agriculture is the fuel for the engine. Trade brings in the stuff you don't have, like wood and metal. Religion gives the king legitimacy. You know, the gods are on his side, and it brings people together. And the scribes, man, the scribes were basically running the software for the entire kingdom. They handled the taxes, the records, all the boring but absolutely essential stuff. It was a seriously complex machine.
Okay. So with all these pieces in place, with this strong foundation built, Babylon wasn't just hanging on anymore. It was starting to thrive. It was now officially on the road to becoming something special.
And this timeline really shows you something important. Just look at that gap. From when the city was founded to when the famous Hammurabi comes along, that's over 100 years. This was not an overnight success story. We're talking about generations of rulers, each one building on the last, strengthening the kingdom, defending the borders, just doing the hard work, day in and day out, to set the stage for what came next.
And I think that's the real takeaway, isn't it? History isn't just about the big, flashy moments. It's slow, it's gradual, it's one step at a time. A small town becomes a capital city. That city starts to pull in resources. The kingdom proves it's tough enough to last. And only then, only after all of that, does it finally start to become the legend we know.
So why are we talking about this? I mean, it's a 4,000-year-old city. Why should you care about its origin story? What's the point of all this?
It comes down to this one really powerful thought. Greatness has to be built. Famous places don't just start out famous. They all started somewhere small. They all had their own 1894 BC moment.
And for me, this is the most amazing part of the story. Think about the actual people living back then. They had no clue their home was going to become Babylon. They weren't living in a legend. They were just living their lives. They were farming, they were building, they were fighting, just trying to make it to the next day. But in doing all that, they were building the legend, one brick at a time.
So that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about, doesn't it? If the mighty city of Babylon started out as just another small, scrappy kingdom in a dangerous world, it makes you wonder, what are the small beginnings we're overlooking today that are going to become the legends of tomorrow?